Hi everyone, we are meeting once again for the third topic, that is the nervous system, its structure and function. So you can directly see over here the nervous system, basically the major system of our body that is responsible for controlling all voluntary as well as involuntary functions of our body. The word nervous has nerve, so you can easily say that it is made up of nerves, and nerves are made up of neurons. So simply you can say that the nervous system is made up of neuron. So neuron is the basic structural and functional unit of the nervous system. So let's have a look at the neuron. This is a generalized picture of the neuron, like a representation. It can vary basically. So first of all, you have to notice that it has this area which is called as the cell body, and the cell body is the one which contain nucleus, which is labeled over here. This is the nucleus, and all other organelles, because it is a cell and it is an animal cell. So definitely it has all the organelles like mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, etc., all over here. So the cell body has small extensions, like these are the small extensions, and these are called as dendrites. The functions of the dendrites is to receive messages from other cells, and there is a long thread leaving the cell body that is known as the axon, which carry the messages from cell body, away from cell body, to other neurons, sometimes even muscles and the glands, because they have the terminal but branches which connect with the muscles or the glands. Each neuron has a very specific structure, and the axon is covered with the help of a lipid or a fatty sheath that is called as the myelin sheath. And once we say that it is lipid, so you can easily get that this is an insulating material. So it covers the axon, and the most important thing is that it speeds up the nerve impulse. So it increases the speeds of the nerve impulses. And what is a nerve impulse? It is an electrical signal which is traveling down the axon. Normally this question is very important, and it's very obvious that identify the direction of the nerve impulse. So always remember the direction of nerve impulse is like this: from axon to cell body, from cell body from dendrites to cell body, and from cell body to axon, and from axon to other neurons, or so on. So nerve impulse travel from dendrite to cell body, and then from cell body to axon, which carry it away from the cell body. There are three different types of the neurons. We can say them. There are sensory neuron, which sense the changes that happen in your body. So mainly they are connected with the sense organs. So they carry the message from sense organs to your brain, central nervous system, which is made up of the brain and the spinal cord, that is known as CNS. So we call it as CNS. Okay, let me just write it over here. So the brain and the spinal cord, CNS. Now we go to the motor neurons, which bring the message from the CNS to glands or muscles. So remember, glands and muscles are the two effectors. Okay, we have discussed this in the endocrine system when we studied about the functions of the feedback mechanism. So we studied like what are the sense organs, and what are the receptors and effectors. Now we have a third type of the neurons, which are interneuron, and these are present only in the CNS, and they carry the impulses from sensory neuron and pass these to motor neuron. So this is a table that summarizes the same: sensory neuron, motor neuron, and interneuron. Remember that, boys and girls, that the sensory neuron basically um, uh, sensory and motor neurons. These two neurons basically are present in PNS. Okay, so in the peripheral nervous system, we will talk soon, and the interneurons are present in the CNS. Okay, so this is a very important concept. Now moving further, interpret the effect of the myelin sheath on the speed of the action potential. So remember, first of all, what is action potential? Okay, so action potential, the alternative name for the action potential is nerve impulse. So to generate a nerve impulse, we need a stimulus. Not every stimulus generates nerve impulse. We need a threshold stimulus. Okay, and this threshold stimulus is the minimum stimulus that can generate an action potential. If the stimulus is stronger, okay, still it does not generate a stronger action potential. It will just generate an action potential. That's why we say that action potential is all or none, all or nothing, all or none principle. It is either generated or nor generated. It's not like weak action potential or strong action potential. No. So action potential is neither weak nor strong. It's just action potential. Something to notice over here also, this is the neuron membrane. It's always at resting, it's positive outside and negative inside, but whenever there is action potential generated, you can see that it switch its charges and it becomes negative outside and positive inside. And always the action potential jump from one place to another place, that is one node to another node. So action potential keep jumping over the nodes which are present in the myelin sheath. What are the factors that affect the action potential? The speed. They are the neuron diameter, temperature, and myelin sheath. So if you look at this table, you can easily say that the speeds of the action potential increases as the thickness of the myelin sheath increases, as the diameter of the myelin sheath increases, as the temperature of the myelin sheath increases. So mostly whenever we have a sharp pain, so our myelinated neurons are working, and when we have a dull pain, our non-myelinated neurons are working. So in all the three cases, we can say that they are directly proportional. So as the myelin sheath thickness increases, the nerve impulse speed will increase, as well as the neuron diameter increase. So automatically the speed of the nerve impulse increases, and the temperature, as the temperature increases, the speed of the action potential increases. Now the another part, we have to discuss the effects of non-functional motor and sensory nerves. So already you know that what is the function of the motor nerve and sensory nerve. So basically the sensory nerve carry the message from your sense organs and take them to the central nervous system. So in case if the sensory nerve is not working, no message will go to the brain. Okay, so it means that you will not feel anything. You will have reduced sensitivity to the stimulus or the changes that are happening around you, and also no feeling of the pain. And in case if the sensory nerve is working, so you will feel pain, the message will go to your brain, but the motor nerve is not working. It means that you don't have a reflex action, you don't have a movement, no response will be shown. And the muscles will be very weak. Okay, so that's it. This is mainly the thing. Remember one more thing, there is something that is called as reflex action. Okay, so this is a very important part of it, that is called as reflex action, which is involuntary, that is involuntary, rapid, and an automated action, so or response, you can say. response to a stimuli. So we say that this is called as reflex action. That is basically the message goes from stimulus. um, the message will be taken from the stimulus. It goes to the brain from the sensory neuron, where the message is translated. The interneurons take the message and they take it to the motor neuron, and motor neuron take it to the effectors. Just try to recall the same pathway that we had for the negative feedback mechanism. So like there is a stimulus. This stimulus is detected by the sensory neurons. These sensory neurons take the message to the CNS. This CNS then use interneurons, and these interneurons carry the message and pass it on to motor neuron, and these motor neurons then take the message to effectors, and these are either your muscles or glands, and then you have in the end definitely you will have the response. Okay, so the last step is response. So that is known as the reflex pathway. So reflex action is followed on a reflex pathway. So this is the sequence of reflex pathway. Let me just write it over here. That is known as the reflex arc. Okay, it is the pathway through which the reflex action is carried. So quickly going through it and following the elimination rule once again. So structure of the nervous system, functional unit, very easy, neuron. Okay, which of the below is not support structure or part of the neuron? We have axon, we have dendrite, we have cell body, so it means that the neurotransmitter is not the part of it. Then we have the diagram of the neuron. We need to label it and tell the functions. The functions are very easy. I will just say it. Labeling axon, this one, the fiber which is leaving from it, so this is called as axon, so it means that this is C. And then we have the dendrite, the small threads, which is A. Okay, then we have cell body, definitely this whole, which is B. And then we have nucleus, which is inside it, so that is E. And in the end we have myelin sheath, that is D. Okay, so that's what is the labeling of the neuron. Functions, you can just go back please and just read out the functions. Action potential and resting potential we already discussed. If you want to see more about it, you can just go back to the notes or go to the answers. An action potential is all or none principle, yes, and the minimum stimulus needed for it is called as the threshold. Okay, what are the gaps in the myelin sheath called? These are called as the nodes. Which of the below statement explains why myelin sheath increase the speed? Because the sodium and potassium cannot diffuse through. Yes, the gaps in the myelin sheath reduce the distance. I don't think so. This is true. Action potential. Wait. Sodium and potassium cannot diffuse through the myelin. Gaps in the myelin reduce the distance for impulse to travel. And action potential jump from one node to another node. Yes, this is true. So I believe that it should be 1 and 3. Okay, now which of the following factors affect the speed? We discussed it was the myelin sheath, it was the diameter, and it was the temperature. So not the number of the neuron, so this is 2 and 3. Okay, what is difference between, what would happen if these are non-functional? If you go back, we have discussed it over here, already answered over here. Okay, the last part of it only some concept organization of the nervous system. What is difference between the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system? CNS, it is mainly made up of the brain and spinal cord. Then it has the neuron types, which are interneurons only, and CNS is important to regulate all your body messages. It takes the messages from the sensory neuron and use its motor interneuron to pass the message through motor neuron. Peripheral nervous system consists of all the nerves and supporting cells which are in the external and internal environment. It consists of the sensory and motor neuron, not like the brain that has only, or the CNS that has only interneuron. Quickly, two questions only. Which number in the image represents the parts of the CNS? So if you remember, the parts of the CNS are brain and spinal cord. So you can easily answer this question. Okay, brain is located here and spinal cord is here. So it means that this is 1 and 2. Okay, in case if the same question is asked, which number in the image represents not the CNS, if they say PNS, okay, let me just write it. So we can say, imagine if they say you identify PNS, so what you will say for the PNS is only 3. Okay, so only 3 is related to the PNS. Now which of the below makes up the PNS? So as we discussed, look, we discussed already, PNS is made up of the motor neuron and sensory neuron. Okay, so motor neuron and sensory neuron, 2 and 3. So this is the answer. Maybe you are asked about which of these make up CNS. So if they just ask you CNS, so definitely the interneurons make up CNS. Okay, so read the question very carefully. All concepts are just like easy but interlinked. So this is how it works. That's it. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best for your preparation and exam. See you again. Bye.